Heyo, Tish here. It's been a bit since my last video, but I'm finally back with an update video and wanted to show a sneak peek of some of the content I have coming up next. So what I've been up to since my break is I'm still reading the Origairu light novel. I'm currently on volume 13, which is really funny because I was reading volume 11 when Furyu announced that they would be working on a new figure of Yukino based on her volume 12 cover appearance. And then just a couple weeks after that, we got an announcement for Yui with her volume 11 light novel cover appearance. So it's a funny coincidence, huh? Now, another series that I don't believe I've talked about on this channel yet is 2.5 Dimensional Seduction, and I've been reading and watching this series concurrently back in 2024, and I continued with reading the manga, and recently they just released their final epilogue chapter concluding the series, and so far I've been very satisfied with the ending for this series. It might be my favorite manga series of all time currently. I just think that it covered all the bases that I wanted. It has some very compelling characters, and what can I say? I just had to collect it physically. That's how much I liked it. So I've been ordering 2.5 Dimensional Seduction off of Books A Million. They recently had a buy one get one 50% off manga sale, and just to fill the orders up, I finally purchased the first volume of the Albuta light novel. I am planning to read this series after I finish Origairu, and while I'm writing the script for that Origairu video that I've been teasing for so long, I'll be reading Albuta in the meantime. Alright, so the next topic I wanted to talk about was the recent Black Friday sale from Good Smile Company US. So this sale was rather unprecedented in just how high the discounts were. They had insane discounts on scale figures, Figmas, Nendoroids, prize figures, just all across the board. A lot of their partner products were going on sale. I don't know exactly why the discounts were so high. Perhaps they're having issues with needing to clear inventory in their warehouses, but whatever it's the case, the past couple weeks during Black Friday and pretty much from, I believe it was from like November 19th to like December 2nd, they had shadow dropped sales every day at completely random times, and it pretty much became a wild goose chase where users on the r/anime figures subreddit would just keep refreshing the page hoping that some deals would pop up and they would be bought out in a matter of minutes, if not even seconds. So it was quite an insane time. I myself was refreshing the page hoping to see if there was anything that interested me. And what I want to cover now is just talk about some of the figures that appeared that I would have wanted to get but wasn't able to for whatever reason. And so the first segment here is about figures that I had no chance of getting because they were sold out the second I refreshed the page, so I never had even a chance to get them. So the three figures I'll talk about are, first is the Summer BB tanned version from Fate Grand Order. This figure I think is a 1/8 scale, and it's a really big figure because of just how big long BB's hair is. And this figure, yeah, I did want this because I do have Summer BB in FGO and I really like using her. It would have been really nice to get her, but she sold out every time I saw her. Next up is the Yukino and Yui Casino version from Origairu. This one I saw, they also sold out immediately. I think the starting price was like $80-ish, but I'm not too miffed about it because with this set, I'm personally not a fan of Yukino's sculpt. I just don't think her face matches up very well. And third is either the Azure Lane, St. Louis, and Honolulu. Both their full and lightweight versions. Those two just immediately sold out every time I refreshed the page. I felt like any Azure Lane figure just immediately sold out. So now for figures that I think I had a chance of getting, but it either sold out or I decided not to get it or hesitated. So first up, we have two freeing 1/4 scale bunnies, Shion from Tensura and Kaide from Danganronpa. As for Tensura, I did see quite a few Tensura figures go on sale, but At this point, I'm not very interested in collecting for the series because I watched season 3's anime adaptation, and yeah, I was not a fan of it. Tensura kind of fell off for me, so I did see it. It was quite a popular bunny figure, but I decided not to get it. But as for Kaide, Kaide is from Danganronpa V3. I haven't played Danganronpa V3 yet, but I am planning to, and so I was really contemplating whether or not I wanted to get her. But I did see that the freeing bunnies, they had like $50 shipping. So for a 1/4 scale bunny, that's cheap, but I personally just wasn't sure if I want to shell out money for a character I'm not sure I would even like, because Danganronpa has very much surprised me time and time again with which characters I end up liking and maybe disliking. So yeah, I wanted to play it safe this time around. So the next figure was Shizu from Tensura, the 1/7 scale from Fat Company. And while in the past I think I would have gotten this figure, two things. One, my lack of interest in Tensura after with the 3rd season, but also that this figure was from Fat Company, which I know is quite notorious for its quality control, and I just kind of want to steer clear from it, but we'll see where that goes. Now for two figures that I really wanted, but never had a chance of really getting. The two figures were of Skahak Skahi from FGO, both the 1st Ascension and the 3rd Ascension. I think both of them were up. The 3rd Ascension, I think, was up like once and then disappeared. The 1st Ascension actually, I think, did get a restock, but I missed her as well. So yeah, I'm pretty sad about that. Skahak Scotty is one of my favorite servants, and yeah, missing it sucks, but there is that summer version of her that's releasing. The next figure was Ilya Prisma, Clangfest version. So I haven't watched the Prisma Ilya series, but I liked the composition of this figure. Unfortunately, it sold out when I went to check out, so yeah, I was pretty sad about this one. It is, I think, a 1/7 scale. I just really liked how it looks. Now, the next figure that I'll be talking about, I am pretty irked about, and it's the Ray tentative name version, the 1/7 scale from Alter. Now, I'm pretty miffed about this one because it sold out immediately, and I've already seen this figure being resold for pretty much its retail price on like eBay, Facebook Marketplace. So I'm pretty annoyed that it didn't get into the hands of more collectors who actually, would keep these figures from themselves, but it is what it is, unfortunately. Now, a lot of the Radio Ava series was on sale, including the Part 2 Rei and Asuka. So I did see the Part 1 Asuka was up for quite a long time, like 30 minutes before it sold out. And I was thinking of getting it, but I'm just not a fan of the face sculpt for it. And so when I saw the Part 2 version was on sale, I was really debating on whether to get it. Then I realized that I could have gotten it for a friend who would have appreciated it more than I would. And by the time I realized that, it had sold out. So yeah, I'm a bit sad about that. I do think the Part 2 Rei is quite drippy. I don't know if the Part 1 or Part 2 Shinji went on sale. If that did, I think I would have gotten it, just because Shinji just doesn't get as many figures as Asuka and Rei do. And the last figure I wanted to discuss was the Shutendoji Festival Portrait version, the Jiangxi one from FGO. This figure is a 1/7 scale, and I did see it up for a good amount of time, like a couple minutes. So I was really thinking about it, but personally, even though I've, encountered Shutendoji in the story and whatnot, I don't really have an attachment to this festival portrait version of her. So I decided not to get her in the end. Alright, so now we're going to take a sneak peek at what reviews are coming up next with the two figures that I got during this Black Friday sale. I just wanted to mention beforehand that the sale was great for the collectors who were able to get the figures, but unfortunately, quite a few customers had their orders canceled because it seems that Good Smile Company US oversold their stock. And because of that, a lot of people had their figures and their orders canceled. So that really soured GSC US's reputation after this Black Friday sale. So my heart's out for those that were affected and had their orders canceled like this, because it really should not have happened. Okay, it's time for the sneak peek of what content is coming up next. aka what figures I was able to get. So the first figure that I got was Q's 1/8 scale Hata no Kokoro from Toho Project. Now this is my first 1/8 scale, and it's because I don't personally like the 1/8 scale just because it feels a bit too small for the price that you end up paying. But I actually knew about this figure from Zuko, who reviewed the original version of this figure. This figure has multiple variants. So the original version came with a Naginata and included her 3 masks as effect parts. There is an alternate color version, and later on they also released this version, which is the light version, which instead of having the effect parts and the Naginata, Hata no Kokoro's holding a pair of fans, which are also part of her kit. You can see that the box is a little dented, a little creased on there. There was a piece of tissue paper that was wrapped around the box, which I've already taken off, but as for the box damage, I really don't care. The second figure that I got was Fat Company's 1/7 scale Kasamigaoka Utaha from Saikano. So I mentioned a bit before about how I feel about Fat Company, and yes, I did get this figure, but I've actually known about this figure for quite a bit because when I was looking for figures of Utaha, this figure was one of the more recent releases, and just looking at the MFC post, I did see mention that the figure's hat does not fit very well in her hands, which is unfortunate, but also not surprising considering other figures I've seen that have had quality control issues from Fat Company. So I was looking for an opportunity to get this figure for a good deal, and I did see that this figure actually appeared on secondhand auctions, and for a newly released figure, it went for surprisingly cheap. Wrapping up this channel update, expect reviews of these 2 figures and future content such as covering some FGO stuff or maybe some more topical videos. But with that, this is Tish, signing off.